بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وحكمة وهدى اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته Ahlan wa sahlan and welcome to the halaqah for tonight, which is the beginning of a series on the great personalities and heroes of Islam. And we chose this topic because in light of current circumstances, we see how our ummah is in need of reviving the spirit of renewal and the spirit of bravery, and that our youth need role models to emulate. And we need to know our history so that we can learn from the great lessons of the heroes of the past, as well as not repeat the mistakes of our forefathers. So tonight, inshaAllah ta'ala, we will begin with a short introduction that I am reading from the book by Sheikh Abul Hassan al-Nadawi called Rijal al-Fikr wa Da'wah. And in this, the Shaykh, he makes a very amazing introduction. He says that the whole world is constantly changing. The world around us is constantly fluctuating and changing with new challenges and new difficulties. Yet, we find that Islam has always been able to rectify and be amenable, to be applicable in every time and place. So it's amazing that Islam has such great foundations that are unchangeable. It has the greatest principles. Yet, in spite of having these firm and fixed principles, it is also able to adapt to the changing circumstances around us. And this is something very unique, very special in Islam. Because you see other religions, other nations, they rise, and what happens after they rise? They fall, right? Every nation, every great nation, it became great and then it fell. But Islam, the religion of Allah, the last religion, and the last prophet who came with this message, there is no prophet after him, this religion has been able to withstand the tides and the changes and vicissitudes of life. You see, in the beginning of Islam, you had the tribulations involved with new people coming into Islam. Islam came from Arabia pure, and it came to Iraq, it came to Syria, it came to Persia, places where people were not Muslim. They didn't know about Islam, and they mixed their own beliefs and ideas, their philosophies with Islam. But in spite of that, the scholars were able to respond to that with the Sunnah and protect the Sunnah in all of those lands. And then we had the big tribulation of the Crusades. The Crusaders, they entered Damascus, they entered Jerusalem, slaughtered the population of Jerusalem, 1099, Christian era. And yet the Muslims were able to recover the Holy Lands. And alhamdulillah, tonight we're going to talk about one of those great heroes who was able to recover Jerusalem from the Crusaders. That's actually the name of your masjid, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. But before we get to that, also we know about the Mongol invasion. They ransacked Baghdad. So the rivers they were flowing with ink of the books, the Baytul Hikmah they threw into the rivers. And even other tribulations came into the ummah. We had the fitna of excessive wealth. The great amount of wealth, people began to become materialistic, loving money, loving the worldly life. And Islam overcame the fitna of the wealth, the great wealth that came to it. So what is the secret? What is the secret for the power of Islam? The power of this religion? It's a miracle. It's really a historical miracle that whatever happens, we always find that Islam always is able to succeed. The Mongols, they tried to destroy Islam, they became Muslim in the end. We had the Janissaries, who eventually, the Mamluks, they were originally slaves. And through Islam, they were able to become rulers. And another amazing thing we see is that Islam transcends all artificial boundaries. There's no borders. Islam has always been able to spread in every place and time. It's not only for Arab, it's for the whole world. So inshallah, the Shaykh, he says that there are two reasons why Islam has always been able to be powerful and successful. Number one is because of its eternal principles. Its foundation is perfect from Allah. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. Today I have made your religion perfect. So this perfect religion, it can last forever because it's perfect. Anything that is human is subject to failure. And the second reason the Shaykh mentions is the men that brought life back into the ummah every time it was being attacked. There was great men, great heroes who stood up for Islam, and they brought the youth back to Islam. They breathed life, and through their great sacrifices, their bravery, their knowledge, their speaking truth to the powers around them, they were able to revive the sunnah. They were able to bring iman and renew the iman. Whenever the iman went down, these mujaddideen, these muslihin, these people were able to bring iman back into the hearts of the people, mistaqan, fulfilling the prophecy of our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَبْعَثُ بِهَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ عَلَى رَأْسِ كُلِّ مِئَةِ سَنَةٍ مَنْ يُجَدِّدْ لَهَا دِينَهَا. Indeed, Allah will send every 100 years for this ummah somebody who will bring life back to it, who will renew it, who will give it new life. So these scholars, they had tremendous sacrifice, and they were also great in knowledge. And so it's not a coincidence. These scholars, these heroes of Islam, it's not a coincidence. Before the religion of Islam, whenever the people went astray, a new prophet would come. But after the coming of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the religion, the prophethood is sealed. So who's going to renew the religion? Is another prophet going to come? It is the responsibility of the ulama, the scholars, the heroes of the religion. And so we see that these heroes always arise whenever there's a need for the ummah to be renewed. They bring life back to the ummah. Tonight we're going to talk about one of the great heroes. In fact, he's considered the greatest sultan. And he is considered the greatest ruler or king in Islam after the Khulafa al-Rashideen, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, after Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and possibly Nur ad-Din Zenki. But after them comes the great hero who was able to restore the Holy Land, Jerusalem, back to the Muslims. And he is the great Mujahid, Imam al-Mujahideen, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, Yusuf Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. This great man, he was born in Tikrit. Tikrit is in Iraq. And he was born to a family of warriors. His father was a warrior, and he was Kurdish. He was Kurdish. And here is something very interesting, that somebody who is Kurdish was able to bring the glory back to Islam. He was able to bring back Jerusalem from the Crusaders, which shows you Islam is not a religion that is bound by nationality, by race, by a certain culture. Anybody who serves the religion of Islam, who calls to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he can be a great hero of Islam. There is no color or no nationality that prevents somebody from being a great servant of this religion. So Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, he was born in 1150 approximately. Jerusalem fell to the Crusaders in what year? Does anybody know? 1099. 1099, Christian era, the Crusaders, they took over Jerusalem and they massacred the entire population, male, man, woman, child, even animals. And it remained under the occupation of the Crusaders until our hero Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, he grew up in Damascus. And in Damascus he learned knowledge. And Damascus is a city of knowledge. He learned the religion, he learned about poetry, he learned about bravery. The Kurdish people are known for their bravery. They ride horses, they're strong people, people of the mountains. And so he grew up loving battling and war as a warrior. He was brave, he rode horses, he learned how to fight. He had maru'ah, he had rajula, he was a strong man. And so in Arabia, in Damascus, he grew up and he became appointed as a governor. And the ruler at the time was a man named Nuruddin Zanki. Nuruddin Zanki was the ruler of the Khilafah at that time, and he wanted to protect Egypt from the Crusaders. Egypt at that time, the time we're talking about Salahuddin, Egypt was ruled by the Fatimid dynasty, a group of Muslims, but they had some major innovations. And unfortunately, the governor of Egypt at that time, he wanted to cooperate with the Crusaders, to the point that he was almost ready to give up Egypt to the Crusaders. So Nuruddin Zanki, the Khalifa when Salahuddin was growing up, he decided to send Salahuddin and his uncle Asaduddin to go to Egypt to try to protect the land of Egypt from the Crusaders. And Salahuddin went there, and in fact, they had to fight against the Fatimids. And Salahuddin killed the governor who was cooperating with the Crusaders, and he was able to establish himself in Egypt as the governor of Egypt. And when he became the governor of Egypt, he began teaching the Sunnah, reviving Islam in Egypt, making the people strong. And so another battle took place, which is in a place called Dimyati. Dimyati is on the northern part of Egypt, right? A very strategic location close to Jerusalem. So Salahuddin went there and he stopped the Crusaders from attacking the city of Dimyati. And then Nuruddin Zanki, he passed away. And when he passed away, some of the corrupt governors in Syria, they wanted to also, because the Crusaders had taken over parts of Syria, and they had built castles on the coastline, they're still there today, and they were wanting to keep their power. They just wanted to keep their dominion. And unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why we're weak, is when we have betrayal and division. Unfortunately, they wanted to sell Islam so they could protect their governorship over those places in Syria. So Salahuddin, our hero, he decided to set out and unite Syria with Egypt. And so he went there and he conquered, or he liberated Damascus and Aleppo, and he united the whole Muslim world because he wanted to take back Palestine. You can't do it when everybody's divided. So he made Syria, Egypt, Libya, Iraq, and Hijaz, the Arabian Peninsula. He united the whole Muslim world. This is something that his predecessor Nuruddin Zanki couldn't do. Nuruddin really wished he could bring Egypt and unite it. But Salahuddin was able to unite the whole Muslim world, and when he was able to do that, he was getting prepared for the great goal that he had. Now that the Muslim Ummah is united, there's the Crusader strongholds on the coast of Syria, and then there's Jerusalem. And they say that Salahuddin couldn't smile. He said, how can I smile when Jerusalem is in the hand of the Crusaders? And he made that his goal in life. And inshallah, next time when we get together, inshallah, we're going to talk about the great battle, inshallah ta'ala, for Jerusalem. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. May Allah bless you all. Jazakumullahu khairan. Any questions, comments? Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah bless you. May Allah liberate Jerusalem again. And may Allah bring from our youth great heroes who will serve the deen of Islam وجزاكم الله خيرا. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.